Yeah, Scotty.
Scotty, loud and clear, man. I can hear you now. What's on your mind?
Nothing much. I was watching that. Actually, I was listening to the Malcolm X DC gave about the March on Washington. He called it the farce on Washington,
Hmm.
and I was wondering what your opinions on that speech was, and whether or not. And this is I can say this is a fair question. Would you say that King would have been placed as the member of the Black Misleadership class at one point in time
Hmm.
because of this speech, or
Man, wow. You took me off into left field, but it's a great question. And you know I love to answer it. Um, so let's just start there. Let's start with no, not King. And I'll tell you why. This is the reason, I mean, this is gonna sound callous as fuck, right? That's the reason he's dead, right? The reason he's dead is because once we were quote unquote done with getting civil rights and the Voting Rights Act, he immediately transitioned to a bigger problem, which was the problem of class, the class and race, right? So he would not have fallen into the misleadership class. One, even at the time, right? Even if we look at it at the time, there was work to be done on Voting Rights, Civil Rights Act, exactly what he was fighting for. And the people who didn't like him at the time didn't like him because of what he was fighting for, and the manner in which he was fighting for it. But I think hindsight is 2020. I mean, without him, without King, most of what we got in the 60s, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, would not have happened. Now, had he stayed there and done like most of these black leaders are doing now, just relitigating the same thing over and over again, instead of moving forward to a new issue and to the rest of the issue, not even a new issue, but the continuation of the same issue, then yeah, I would agree that he could have been easily lumped into the misleadership class. But the reason he's not here right now is because he very quickly and very astutely saw that the problem was not just race, but it was a problem of economics in America. And once he found that intersection and start uniting poor people of color across the world, across the nation, and white people as well, that's when they killed him.
mhm. Yeah, and I was wondering that because I was listening to the speech and I was just sitting there thinking because I know that Malcolm had his disagreements with Martin, and when he's talking about the meeting that they had with JFK and some of the concessions that they had to make because of the march, the FBI controlling their I think it was the microphone. If they said anything out of order, then they would play Mahalia Jackson. Yeah, I always thought about that. So,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much all
I
on
mean, you know
that.
what's amazing though. So right, you had Malcolm and Martin on somewhat opposite sides of the equation, and but before Malcolm died, Malcolm came a little bit closer to where Martin was, and before Martin died, Martin came a little bit closer to where Malcolm was. I don't know if I said that right because the M-A-R they mixed it up. So Malcolm came closer to Martin. Martin came closer to Malcolm. Both of them actually grew. And this may sound condescending. Well, these great behemoths of men and leaders, but they actually grew even further from the high point that white America gives him credit for, right? The high point for Dr. King was I have a dream. Well, he grew so much further than that. And as he grew, he got a little more militant and got a little closer to Malcolm. And as Malcolm came back from Mecca and saw all of the different faces and colors of people who were Muslim like he was, and he moved away from the Nation of Islam, he got a little bit closer to Martin. And somewhere in that nexus is the biggest threat to America because both of them were killed shortly after.